Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Perspectives. It is Monday, 13th December 2021. It is a wet and rainy Monday morning. It is. I know most of you are probably on vacation and you are enjoying the rains. But if you have to get up and get ready for work, trust you are up and doing so. Remember, you had to move a little earlier this morning. For some reason, it's a little darker, you know? So don't mistake it for nighttime. It's a pleasure to be back with you. I am Brenda Baptiste, and of course, we're here again for another edition of Perspectives. We have kind of like 12 days to go before Christmas, exactly that, with today being the 13th of December. So we're counting down, right? Yes, we are. We'd like to say a special thank you and welcome to all of you joining us on the various broadcast entities at Streaming Perspectives. MTV, of course, we're on air and on live with you. Mikey Live, TNR Communications, own Perspectives page. Party Grenada, we're on there as well. KG9 and the brothers and sisters in Carriacou on Sister Isle, good morning to you. It's now time for me to say good morning to our expert talk panel. You gentlemen here looking spick and span this morning. I don't know where the fashion show is, but I gotta say good morning to Senator Christopher de Allie, who's just looking dashing this morning, and Mr. Byron Campbell. Yes.
Morning,
You know where the fashion show at Miss Universe was last night? You all were judges or something?
Good morning, Brenda. Good morning to our viewers.
Good morning.
Every now and then you have to do something, I have
Switch
Senate
it up,
today,
switch it up.
so,
Oh, Senate today.
Yeah,
Okay.
the budget and have
Nice.
fun.
Okay. Go get him. Go get him.
Yes,
Go get
I
him.
suppose I have to dress the part.
Oh.
Yes.
You understand the assignment.
Yes, I do. So, hence my raising of my standard to my brother Byron. So,
I tell you.
Associate appropriately.
Chris, yeah, I don't envy you this morning though with the Senate, that's heavy. Somehow this morning I feel light, and so I'm going to start with light subjects, Chris. Like it's raining today. Good morning all, yeah. It's raining today, but I can tell you, it's the Christmas season also. So I can tell you what, I start drinking sorrel, I start having a little stew peas.
Yeah, peas.
A little bit, not much, not enough to share. It's a little bit, like I put aside a little bit.
Start drinking sorrel,
but too much rain is not really very good for the peas, Need a little more. But there's some. But my wife Gemma was organizing the black cake last night, and there was an electrical fire in the oven, so I almost lost it, but we were able to put the fire out and save the cake, which was most important. The cake was more important than the oven. Than the oven, So
the cake was saved.
Cake was saved.
Mission accomplished.
So I have to call the technician today, to fix that, because the ham has to come at some later point. So it's important that the oven is working, Chris. So I'm on to the season, and I'm because the past year we didn't really have a Christmas last year, as you know, with COVID, and all of that. So I think all of us, we are the nation. We're looking.
So Byron, you're happy that the curfew is gone and that we have this extra. Is that part of the lightness that you're feeling? The restrictions are.
No, it has nothing to do with the restrictions. Because I'm going to talk about that. I'm not. Somehow I'm a little edgy, iffy about the restrictions being removed totally.
Why are you edgy and iffy?
Well, let me tell you. I mean, I look at the international news and I see what's happening in Europe, Chris. With the Omicron and other places in the U.S. and I'm a little concerned. And of course, our borders are open. Kudos for the tourist and cruise industry. I mean, at the same time, I think our people are making a dollar, which is important. The taxis and some of tours and so forth, that's important for the economy, but I'm also concerned, Brenda, I know you want I'm gonna dam this morning. I know you want the dam copy lifted. It's been lifted, but
and I'm enjoying it. I'm taking full advantage of it.
But I want to say to my colleagues, I've taken it. I've taken the booster. I'm entitled, Chris. And so those of us that are with the age for it or the underlying conditions, we should take the booster shot. It's important. It's really, really important. So Brenda, I don't know. I'm not comfortable, All
right. So I understand that, and I hear you, and I respect that.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna back you up a bit by saying that it's weird this morning as I was getting ready to come here, you know, in the bathroom, these thoughts just come, everything has come to you for some reason. I know why.
Yeah.
But anyway.
In the bathroom, you just get your
The vibes.
light bulb just turn on.
Oh boy, yeah. And so it dawned on me, the first of all, the date, December 13th, popped into my head. I was like, today's the 13th, but in a way that I should remember something.
Yeah.
And what I remembered, it was like we were all geared to have a really good Christmas last year.
Yeah.
And on December 13th, everything changed. That it was Sunday, December 13th.
Yeah.
Today's Monday, December 13th. That is when we found out about the cluster in the South. And our Christmas changed.
Whoa.
And it just popped into my head this morning. And I'm like, okay, all right, we're open, we're all of that. And I hear you about, you know, the borders being open. And I hear people about their concerns about people that will be up, because I know a lot of people are coming home for the holidays and so on and so forth. And we have tourist season that is open. But I also want us to remember that every single day or every other day, we are finding 1 and 2 people that are still in our communities with COVID. Let us not lose sight of that. Among us, COVID is still present. Omicron, no, but COVID is still present in whatever form. So we need to be mindful of that. And while I enjoy the freedom of everything, I was thinking after, you know, I had 2 events on the weekend that I went to. I had a really good time. One was a birthday party. Another was at a real nice place that I really like. Right? Folks has meet up in a junction. Yeah. So
a junction could be anyway. So
the junction.
The junction.
Right. So but I thought to myself, you know something, Brenda? I am not sure that I will be going to any large events for the holidays. I will go to
what's large?
things.
What's large?
So we're going to have a lot of big parties and so on. That's outside of 75, outside of 50.
Okay.
But I am going to still restrict myself to where I go, what I attend, based on the numbers. I am still not at that level of comfort. I start hugging again and all of that kind of thing, but I am still not at the lot of people level of comfort. So I had to say that,
Well, I am sharing the same views like you. I am still not at the comfort level yet to go to intermingle at the level that, you know, you would do prior COVID. And so you're still, and then there, as you say, there is still episodes of COVID in the environment. A lot of us are concerned that, you know, when you pass on Wall Street and those other places and you see the level of interaction and the crowds, nobody's wearing masks, nobody's observing the protocols and so on, you do get a little edgy and you do get a little discomfort that, you know, something may break. Understanding our vaccination levels are still not past 40,000. Yes, we're edging there, but we're not there yet. So
just inching.
It is one of those things where you still have to be concerned. None of us in the business community could afford another lockdown. I'm quite certain about that. Neither can the government. I don't think there's any other stimulus that we could call 3.0 or 4.0 that
not
we
there.
could put in.
There's no room for it.
A lot of it has to come back on us as individuals, taking the level of precaution and taking, you know, getting vaccinated where you can. I also want to introduce that I believe in 2022, a lot of businesses are going to get more rigid with the issue of vaccinations and
staffing.
And for the staffs and for the staff and what is going to happen there. Some of us are going to probably ask for testing every 2 weeks or so. Some of us are going to follow the SGU model for whatever it is. And I think you're going to see a tightening of that issue about vaccinated versus unvaccinated and how it's going to affect the workplace environment and what we do there. So there is, I think, in 2022, a lot of thinking, a lot of thought needs to be given by those of us who are still hesitant as to how life will change, for the good or not. And that is something that we need to pay attention to as we go forward. But yes, I think 2022 still carries with it a certain level of uncertainty.
Of course
it's going to be spoken about in the Senate, I suspect, today and the other couple of days. But it is one of those things that, you know, the environment has improved, but it's still not where we know it should be.
And then because it's a global pandemic, remember everything that is happening would impinge on whatever happens
right.
here. And sometimes for some reason in the conversation or in the discussions or even in the analysis and planning, I think that is forgotten, whether deliberately or not. Because at the end of the day, we are not in Mars existing on our own. Everything that's happening in the wider community, whether it's next to us or miles away from us, is impacting because it is a global pandemic. I mean, this morning we have 2 cruise ships in port, but we can run into a situation where if we have some issue, we won't see them again for another year.
That's right.
So those are the sorts of things that we need to think about, how the globe or the world is being impacted by this. Only on the weekend I was having this discussion is that you're going into places at this time where you would normally pick up whatever you want for Christmas. But it is December 13th and already some of our favorite Christmas stores, so to speak, don't have what we need. And when you ask them, well, are you getting? The answer is no, because what has happened with shipping has impacted them. And additionally, a lot of folks have just kept the inventory they've had. They have not gone out and gotten any extra set of things. Probably just a restocking of some items. So you're finding now that, you know, it's good that maybe they're running out of stuff or getting an opportunity to get rid of inventory they've had for the last year or so, but you're really not finding anything new, if you will, coming in. Maybe except for 1 or 2, but the ones that you normally go to and just get every bit and bob that you need, you're finding that, no, it's finished. Oh, we don't have it, you know? Are you getting any time soon? No, next year. But, you know, when you think about it, I think, you know, that may be the impact. Senator Allie?
Well, I mean, some of us in the business community would like to see the Christmas season be as it's normal, you know, have increased spending. Government is going to pay their 1 month to the frontline people. I think the PS was saying that the 2 weeks to those who they have to determine what was happening with them in terms of the extras they put out, being not on the front line, but being in the back, but was committed to helping and so on. May take a little longer because they still have to determine the terms and so on to pay that. So probably that will come later on in January. So probably we may see a bump in business in January. Some may be delayed business, delayed spend. And you know, that is, but what is important, what I want to talk about, Brenda, is that, you know, as we open back up, interestingly enough, having a conversation with some females, you know, you hear about the nail techs, the people in the business of hairdressing, the people in the business of clothing and so on. They are now getting some action because, you know, people couldn't go out.
There's a lot of self-employed persons, eh?
Yes, people can go out. We had a young lady here on the program earlier on in the year who is into this beautician work and cosmetology. And you're hearing now that they are getting some work because, you know, our women and our men and now feel they could dress and go out and have fun and prepare their nails. There are places to go. So
they need that too,
it's a good thing from that perspective. It's a really good thing. And psychologically it helps, you know, with relieving the stress. And I think that is a big part of the opening up that we're not paying attention to, the psychoanalysis part and how it's helping. And that's a good thing. I mean,
and if that reason alone, Senator Allie, is the only reason the country was open, then kudos. Because when you people watch, like I do it, so you go out and people are just so happy. They're just in this space of constant euphoria, and that is where, because they've been locked down for so long, but that is where you could let your guard down. So it's a real sort of, you know.
And there is a little more money. People are getting a hope that there's a little more money. And probably we could talk about labor issues a little later on, Byron. But I think that helps. And I believe, you know, we just need to be careful as a country and as a people that we don't overdo it. And then in January, we see a spike coming that, you know, something
I want to give a pitch for an excellent family activity for Christmas. And it's open air, it's spaced out, the Rotary quarantine, Christmas lighting.
Yes, absolutely.
I think it's an excellent opportunity
to
bring the family out. To bring the family out, it is safe, it is enjoyable, it's beautiful.
Always has been.
And so some way to go somewhere to go, and I really want to compliment the Rotary for this initiative, and it's worth visiting.
It's fantastic. They run it from Wednesdays to Sunday through Sundays. And it's really, really, everybody can go and enjoy. You like the movies, Senator Allie. You know their movies as well.
Yes, I'm aware.
Yes.
I've been there a few times. I like the lights.
Right. So you can go out on movie nights.
Yeah.
Because I know you like your movies.
Yes, I do. I go to cinema.
Yeah, but it
I
is.
think it's an outing.
It is
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's
And quarantine is just a really beautiful.
And there's
I wish
parking
and that's why we have to be so careful and preserve some more green
Yeah.
spaces.
Yeah.
Green spaces are
Yeah.
just really, really healthy. You know, so yeah.
So Byron,
Good
I'm going
job.
to throw something at you. I mean, one of the things we know we approaching silly season with the politics and so on.
Yeah.
But
Why is the season silly? Why? No, seriously. Why is the season silly?
Well,
everybody refer to it as silly season.
Yeah, because
But Alice is say your politics is silly.
No,
not all true.
Not all the politics is silly, but some of the people in the politics might be silly.
Oh,
so we refer to it
nonsense.
as yes. Hear those words? Superfluous nonsense. Well, then again,
Necessary. Yeah.
yeah, and I think I saw GULP indicated that they'll be fielding
GULP.
Yeah.
the Grenada United Labour Party.
Yeah.
Oh,
Has
okay.
indicated that they'll be fielding 15 candidates to represent the 15 constituencies.
Well,
and of
politics
course,
is ripe.
we expect that NDC will do the same, and of course NLP will do the same. So it is interesting how that is going to develop. We haven't heard from some of the other parties who may want to field one or two, or independents, as the case may be. So I just say that to say, it appears that 2022 is going to be very interesting for us politically and competitive.
It's not an election year, Chris.
Huh? 2022?
Yeah.
I don't know. It may be.
Oh, okay.
The Prime Minister have indicated that he did say
But
not
you
going
told
down
us
to
you
the
didn't
wire.
know it was-
I did.
This man announced a month ago that he know this thing. This man come here saying he know that the election is when,
But I like the season. You call it silly, but I like it. You know? Because it's pouring a lot of opinions, a lot of ideas, a lot of strategy,
A lot of discussion among the people,
a lot of
and the
discussion about
folks.
solutions and how we fix this and how we mend this. But I like the way it's shaping up. It seems like the political parties are putting their act together, and some are being on the ground, some are organizing, reorganizing, and so forth. So it's healthy. It's good for democracy.
It is.
It is definitely. I mean, it is going to be something to pay attention to. I know years in the back, you and I used to do the shows, the politicians, inviting them to come and discuss and, of course, make their pitch. And I suspect as we go into 2022, we're going to be seeing a lot more of that on perspectives as well. And something we look forward to.
Of course, they need to share their perspectives. What really are you planning to do? I mean, we keep hearing a lot of things, but let's dig behind let's get to the meat of the matter.
I am one who believes we must ask hard questions.
Yeah,
as
let's
well.
get
Absolutely,
to the meat of the
particularly
matter.
for politicians. You know?
And certainly when some of them are going to put out their candidates, that is the next interesting thing to see from the parties, the naming of who are going to be the candidates.
But what I'm looking for, Chris, and I think that, and we're talking about governance, of course, and you're a senator, you've been there for what, 20 years?
No. I'll be approaching 15 years.
15 years. That makes you a senior parliamentarian anyway.
Of course
a very
he is.
experienced one. What I'm looking for is balance, Chris. First, in terms of the gender, I like to see a mix in terms of male-female representation at the highest level, and also not so much ageism, but intergenerational there also. That we have a mix
good
there.
mix in the Senate.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and that's
I think so.
important. So you
I
have
think so.
different perspectives, and so on. So I look forward, and I think we're in a good place, frankly.
We are. I think we have set the trend, certainly in the OECS in the last few years.
Before others.
That the mix of male-female and gender, in terms of intergenerational, has been a relatively good one for us. At the highest parliamentary body, which is the Senate, and that is.
It's funny how we seem to miss those things when we start beyond the bully pulpit, just saying things, because it's in front of our eyes.
And internationally, we are certainly recognized for it. Huh?
Yes.
So that when parliamentarians go to sessions with our colleagues in other countries and so on, we always spoken about positively in that context.
In terms of women representation in this hemisphere, Grenada is high.
Yeah,
Because
we
nothing goes beyond 40%, and
Yeah,
Grenada is
we
about
are
35%.
we are certainly in the
Grenada is
first
very
five,
high,
top
yeah.
five.
Yeah.
The other point, Chris, I think that, yes, and I respect the wishes of the people, and you have to. And we see in the past 2 elections, we had a 15-0. I think somehow the drafters of our constitution or the parliamentary system, somehow I prefer a more balanced parliament where there is, like in the Senate, you have a real debate, you know. The 15-0 is a people's wish. But my wish is that you have a more balanced parliament. I would like to see a more...
So how did you vote in the last referendum?
I could talk about it. I voted for term.
Good.
Absolutely.
Good.
And I voted to move out of the...
And you voted that there must be a leader of the opposition at all
and
times?
I voted also that we move out, although it wasn't that we move out of the monarchy. You know?
Right. We pledge allegiance to Grenada.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. You know,
So
in
you
Barbados...
see, here we are lauding Barbados, but we had an opportunity.
Yes.
We were ahead of Barbados, not to become a republic, but we were not going to pledge no allegiance to Regina anymore. Right? So we said we're going to pledge allegiance to our country. But... there was a little word called gender in there.
I feel so bad.
And there were some other little things.
How can we fix this?
The whole thing failed.
No, well, I mean, Byron, you know, we have tried any adjustments to the Constitution twice.
Yeah.
And failed miserably both times.
Yeah.
Both times.
So I believe it's a situation where political parties have a lot of educating to do.
Yeah.
The average man. And of course, try to remove the politics. That is part of the problem, because some of us see it as a way to politicize what we do in the referendum and not zoom in on the real issues and how it impacts us as a country and as a people going forward. That, I think, is a tragedy when we politicize those things. I mean, look, here we are in Grenada. We did a 2035 plan.
Yeah.
And we brought all constituents on to develop that plan. The opposition, the government,
everybody.
the NGOs, everybody came in, the private sector, labor, and so on. And we developed this 2035 plan. You may not like it, or some people may have their differences, but the point is we have set our country on a path in various areas, whether it be education, whether it be in tourism, whether it be in economic development, social development, that we have said, from now until 2025, these are the targets. And this is an excellent strategic plan. We talk about strategic planning and we don't do it enough, but here we have one over a period of time, and somehow we feel to believe, some of us believe that we should depart from this because of the politics. And I think that is a tragedy, again, if we go down that road. But you know, you have always heard about countries start a project, a new party comes in. We have that problem apparently going on right now in St. Lucia, where they just changed government, and the new government has come in and shut down everything the last government started.
Correct.
You know, and the cost to the country is significant. And, you know, it delays everything, and we need to get past
that's
those.
one of the things we need to remedy in our system of governance, you know, in this Westminster system, that the people put the government, there's a party that the people put in power to run to be their government, right? And then when they get there, they decide what stays or what goes. Because as we know, government is supposed to be a continuum. But in this democracy and society of Westminster, not just Grenada, that's just old talk, right? Because it doesn't happen. I believe that it should be a case where the people, how the people feel, is clearly represented by the people going into power. So you don't get there and just decide, I will shelve everything the PRG did. I'm going to shelve everything the NNP did. I'm going to shelve everything the NDC did. I'm going to shelve everything the GULP, and we're back to square one.
You know, it doesn't help us.
Really, no, it has not helped us at all.
It doesn't help us as a nation, doesn't help us as a people.
I think in every government, there was something that was laudable, that was good for the country, whether of the political ilk. And you talk about politicians and how they need to educate their base. But I think if we are educated from the level of school, if we did more civics in school, if we had more community awareness, if NGOs really got out and do their work, you know, I remember you learned things about politics in church sometimes. Sometimes we had priests who in Sunday school who went off and told us things that were happening around the world as a young girl going to Sunday school and all of that. So if we got to that point, because that's the difference with us and Barbados, there's an awareness There's something that is strong and it's imbued in these people.
So we lost
it's an
it?
education that we don't have.
We lost
so we
it.
can't even call
we
ourselves.
were a much more progressive.
Yeah, everything
I mean,
now is green
Barbados
and
was like
yellow.
little England, you know.
Yeah,
It
we
was
have gotten tribal in the politics,
Yeah.
and it's not only the people to blame. I think our politicians encourage the tribalism to some
Yeah.
degree, so
Yeah.
they have to accept some blame for it
Yeah.
because it works for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, I always say
Yeah.
the people who probably have a little more critical analysis are in a minority
Yeah.
when it comes to voting and so on, and that helps. It doesn't help, and the politicians play that, and they play to that. I suppose if you're in politics, that is how you have to do it as well.
So the 15-year plan, Chris, the national plan, should this be a election issue? To what extent the political parties, assuming they win or will maintain this plan? There's an example I learned in Taiwan. There's a 20-year plan, and it's by law. Even though there's a change of government by law, they have to follow
That's
the plan.
what I'm
They may
saying.
tweak the
Once
strategy.
it comes
That's
from
right,
the
that's
people,
right.
Tweak the strategy,
yeah.
but the plan is a national plan.
Once
that
it
all
comes
and
from the
sundry-
people, it has to be
all and sundry
implemented.
participated
Yeah.
in its development. So that is a
Taiwan
national
is 20, in China is 100 years.
100 years. You
Yeah.
know, so I agree. But from your senatorial discussion this morning, is that an approach you're going to take? I mean, you don't have to spill the bean here, Chris.
No.
Are you
I
going to
mean,
take the approach? To what
I
extent?
haven't taken the approach.
To what extent does the budget, the national budget, integrates or
It
is part
has.
of that?
The
Have
Minister
you-
of
have you seen
Finance
this? Yeah.
in
It's
his
hitched to
speech
that.
Yeah.
has mentioned that, and
Yeah.
his theme for the budget surrounds that as
Yeah,
well.
right,
And it feeds into that.
Yeah.
Didn't that start since last year?
critical.
though?
Yeah, it started since
Hinging
last
the
year.
budget
Has to be.
to the
Mhm.
National
Yeah.
Development Plan.
Yeah.
And so it is. The government have certainly taken the decision, the current government, that all their strategic planning will be in furtherance of that
goal.
objectives
Yeah.
on that goal in
Yeah.
2035.
Yeah.
So I support that, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
I think, and I support it from a point of view of being in business, understand what strategic planning
means,
requires,
yeah.
the benefits of it.
Yeah.
And as you say, you know, as the environment changes, you tweak certain things, but the
course.
fundamentals of what. So, for example, if we want to say that we need to get, you know, in terms of education, more vocational training in schools, and we, for example, let us say we look at the yachting industry as an example.
Yeah.
And we say we need to get people trained for the yachting industry because those sophisticated yachts and so on that come to our shores, we need to have people here, the basic skills. And we need to get our students thinking in that direction, but it's going to take us some time, probably 5 to 10 years
Exactly.
to get them there. We are a small island, and I like to say ocean state instead of, because,
It is
Island
an
but we
ocean
don't
state.
train, we
Yeah.
don't have a strategic focus of training people to become captains
Yeah.
or to become first mates on these boats and on these big ships, whereas other countries do it. And it's a
No, we
strategic
look
approach.
down on.
Right, it's a strategic approach, but a captain on those sophisticated yachts, these multi-million-dollar yachts,
course.
are highly paid people.
Highly paid.
Well,
Maintenance
most
crew.
of them are millionaires.
Correct,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so I just say that as an example that if we were to strategize and say from now to 2035, we're building a cadre of people,
Yeah.
we're building a school to deal with
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
It
yeah.
takes some
True.
planning and some strategic
Another
looking
example
forward.
is the green energy, since we're going in that
That's
direction.
right.
Correct.
And there's some start of that we see Nulo now has been training young persons in solar panels, solar energy, both maintenance and installation. So that kind of forward
That is
planning
correct.
is very important.
And that is what we
Yeah.
need to encourage
And
because
another thing with the planning,
it is the
Senator
way
Allie,
forward.
we
Yeah.
should be, I think it should be, and the Chinese do this very, very well.
Yeah.
There's so there's a 100-year plan,
Yeah.
but they're phases. We tend to generalize and say we will do this by June,
Yeah.
we will do that by, but we need to be more, we need to be smarter with it,
Yeah.
specific and measured,
Yeah.
and move, you know, just
Yeah.
put timelines to every phase
Yeah.
of whatever endeavor
Yeah.
that we're getting
Yeah.
engaged in. I think that would make us more efficient.
Yeah.
It would make a lot of the implementation things more realistic for us as
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
and more timely.
Yeah.
And we have to develop ourselves to rise to that first
Yeah.
world level. Because globalization, if you're not thinking first world, you die.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about educating in schools. I think the 2035 plan should be presented to schools.
Absolutely. Let them debate on it.
Not just us
Yeah.
and
It's a good
this
idea.
sector and that sector. Go to
But the
because
generations, yeah.
for certainly our secondary school students are going to be the ones taking over in 5-10 years.
Absolutely.
So they're part of the plan, eh?
They're part of the plan.
Yeah.
They are a significant part of the plan.
Yeah.
And we talk, and we boast, I don't know if we boast, but we talk a lot about our nation being young, pretty much young people. So we need to get them on board and get them saying, yes, we like this. Yes, we agree with this.
One of the things we're not doing well
but
is
we could
that,
tinker it here and there.
yes, they're young, but we are making decisions for them, you see? And that may run counter to what they want. So we have to ensure that they are part of it in some way, adding to whatever
I think part of
we're doing.
Part of the development of that plan was to review it after a number of years.
I
think every 3 or 5 years is to be reviewed.
You don't set things like that in stone.
That's right. But in my thinking,
you see, that's where we miss things like National Students Council and NYO
and get them more intricately involved in what this plan is about, whether it be education, whether it be what sectors we're looking at to develop, for them to get involved and start thinking about going there, and what needs to be done. And I think that is the way.
No, I'm glad you brought up young people, because the first thing that comes to my mind is, sports. And are we going to go back to, are we going to once more have intercall?
Yes, we have intercall next year.
About in the past year, they've been really out of sports, out of culture, out of
look at the Pan Am Games. We just had the results from the young people who went to Pan Am Games. We spoke about it last week and how well they did. And so obviously the young people are feeling good about themselves and what they're doing, and they're performing at that level. And there's so much room for further development.
And they also have great role models
Yes,
performing
that's
at
right.
the highest level. Because in swimming you have young Kimberly and all these youngsters, the Olivers and all these youngsters in swimming, Delron Felix and all of them. Then you have Anderson, you have Kirani, you have Lyndon, Kurt, Melanie. So they have young global role models.
Was it a young lady that performed in the heptathlon?
We don't boast
and did
enough
very
about
well.
our sports.
And I think for a small, tiny little rock, what we do in sports is an amazing thing.
Everybody else seems to understand and accept us.
Compared to the rest of the United States, and we
big articles, how did Grenada do it? But we hear cussing. We can't see it.
But so those are the things that has been positive for us.
Yes,
and
very positive.
have done well for us, and we need to encourage.
That's why I said last week, imagine Grenada at this point as in sport. Remove the stadia, remove the athletic stadium, remove the cricket stadium. So the two is stadia. So remove the stadia and think about where we would have been.
Well, I mean, I think I said last week, Byron, that there's this old argument that's been put forward. The 5 million could be spent in health or agriculture and so on versus the stadium renovations. And that has been an argument we have had always, forever. The best use of funds and where you could use it. And it's always based on people's bias on what they think and what is happening where. And but at the end of the day, every party has a role to develop as balanced as possible every sector of the society. Youth is a big thing for us, and we talk a lot about youth and unemployment in youth, and I want to go and touch on some of the labor issues.
I think a lot of the time the youth thing is just a sexy sounding thing. It's just
and
really...
when we talk about, let's talk about what we see coming forward for young people and work and unemployment and employment. We have a hospitality sector in Grenada that is going to be in serious need of labor. Serious. If Six Senses were to come on as scheduled next year, we have Royalton that is coming up and all the traditional hotel plants we have now. There is a serious dearth and lack of people at all sectors across the hospitality sector that is required. The chefs, the waiters, the management, the middle management, everything. And here we have WISH. The West Indies School for Training in Hospitality that has been introduced. And I think it's such a great opportunity for those of us who have a wish to get into that sector. And here we talk about young people not having opportunities. Here's a great opportunity. And it's free. It's all subsidized. And you're going to be trained by one of the top schools in the US in hospitality. So I say that to say that, yes, we're quick to criticize about and to highlight the view that, Grenada have this huge unemployment problem, which we probably do, and it's more exacerbated with young people. But here are opportunities. here are opportunities that we could jump in. And you are in SIAP, you're in
Yeah,
SEED,
I could
and
talk
you
about that,
see
Chris.
that every
I
day
could talk about
with
that,
our
Chris,
young people.
yes.
And we have bright young people here.
That is true, Chris.
Don't
and
fool
there
that.
are, sometimes I hear statements, and I blame sometimes the government or even the projects that are doing work with young people to not adequately promoting or showcasing, publicizing what's happening. So sometimes we hear statements about the state of affairs with young people, and I admit that there are a lot of young people still that are seeking opportunities and are in the doldrums, but there are a lot of opportunities out there for young people that are making use of it. I want to highlight GIDC as one institution that is doing excellent work in this area, and maybe on another occasion we'll get to hear them talk about it, where I'm talking about hundreds of young people are being trained in business. You know, they must attend full-time school training for 5 weeks, full-time, where they learn all the arguments of business and what's involved. When they complete this aspect of training, they are then given a first push grant. In other words, a certain sum of money to test their product. And here we're looking at most of them going into their own business.
What's it called? A first push grant?
For a first push grant. This is to test your product. This is to like sampling it, to give the initial things, you know. After that stage, which could be 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, depending on what the product is, they are then given a full grant of up to $21,000. Yeah? For the development. They can use that grant as collateral to get from a financial institution if they wish to go bigger also.
The 80-20
and when you
financing.
listen to the testimonies of these young people, it's just amazing. So I'm really moved, and also the amount that there's a lot of young people being trained also by local institutions, and the Grenada National Training Institution, National Training Agency is acting as a conduit to, because they are not necessarily doing the training themselves. So for example, where young people have been trained as nursing assistants and orderlies, they are not doing the work themselves. They have contract these out to specialized persons within the community to do this actual training. And also in the hospitality industry, this is taking place. So there is a lot of young persons being trained to take advantage of this growth that we're going to see in the tourism sector in particular. So it is not, I like to keep it positive because I know about it, so I can talk about it. So it is not doom and gloom out there as some people tend to believe. For
but
young
as you mentioned at the
it's
top,
important.
and that's that what you mentioned is fantastic. I didn't know about that. Yeah, that is really fantastic. You see, and that's the thing. And probably yes, there are people who would want to give the impression that absolutely nothing is happening. But then again, when things are happening, the organizations, the businesses, the agencies, people need to know. We have a lot of good things in Grenada that are best kept secrets.
Let me give you another dimension to this. And this is in collaboration with the government of Grenada, because the government has used, I think, the vicinity of $400,000 to, and GIDC put in an additional money to rehabilitate one of the buildings in Simon Industrial Park. So the GIDC is going to be opening, with the government of Grenada, opening a business development center there. It's ready, it's furnished, equipped, computers, everything is there, with business development officers that are already employed and in the field. That's going to be the hub. So it's serving the rural communities.
Right, so
they
folks
don't
in
have
the
to
north
come,
and in the east don't have to come to
So the
frequency.
business support,
Good.
the training and the business support is going to happen in there. And this is for young persons. This is for persons between the age of 16 and 35. And they make no excuse about it. It's targeting. And I'm amazed to see the young women in particular who are coming forward. Just excellent. I mean, very creative. And they're not just business, but they're looking at business that are sustainable. You know, that has
the Grenada Tourism
kudos to,
Authority.
That is an important word. You just talk about sustainability.
The Grenada Tourism Authority
Because
too, they just launched.
There is this big debate now, as the budget was presented, about what is sustainable and what is not sustainable. And you know, the criticism about construction not being sustainable and not enough has been put into areas where we could get sustainable. But here you're talking about an initiative that is looking at young people developing their business model and coming forward and giving them support. And in the rural side of the economy.
Some marketing support also is there.
Yeah, so I mean, how more positive could that be?
Everything.
And it's targeting that special group of young people who have that interest. I mean, so I think there is a lot. I mean, we started in the chamber a program called Junior Achievement, which was always about training young people in schools, in secondary schools, about business and what is business about, what you need to take care of. We had them start up a business, close down a business, and go through the whole 9 yards.
I was in JA. JA was a great program.
Right, exactly. And it gave you an understanding of what is involved, and we extended it down to primary level as well. So, we have been doing these things with our young folks over the years, and it's something that we probably don't see the benefits right away, but down the road we are going to see the benefits.
I first became aware of Minister Kate Lewis. I first became aware of her through JA.
Right.
She was a teacher at the time, and she led her school. I think they won twice. Very competitive lady she is. And they had some really, really good projects. They started the teas and all of that. JA was a fantastic program, and I am aware that some of the business initiatives developed by the students were hogged away by adults in agencies and in private sector in Grenada. I wanted to mention as well, as we talked about training, that yesterday the Grenada Tourism Authority, they commenced the Young Chefs and Mixology competition. It's part of a training, and I think that's important because I think in Grenada here, and based on reviews, even the other day I was going through TripAdvisor, and I realized that there are a lot of commendations for our mixologists and our chefs.
Well,
so to continue to do this is really
probably
great.
Take a pat
so
on the
kudos to the
shoulder
GTA.
that we are a sponsor of the program. So.
Oh, fantastic. Sissons?
Yes.
Good looks at last.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
great.
We recognize the benefits to our young people.
Well done,
and that
Senator
mixologist thing and
well
so
done,
on have
well
gone
done.
international.
Yes,
those young people, they are so talented in that, and how the creative things they come up and using the local spices and herbs, and it's amazing what they do.
And they're well tutored by people like Chef Belinda Bishop and all these good people.
Excellent,
so
excellent.
I think maybe next year too, Prospective must consider bringing some of these people here. To hear from them.
Or go where they are.
Or go where they are, even using the Zoom platform to do that. And Chris, this is not to say that some people may say, look, you're just glossing over the issues. And I agree. We still have, in my view, an acceptable high level of poverty in the OECS and in Grenada, certainly.
Certainly.
And therefore, and what we find, this is among an age group that it is not where you have to use a different approach to how you could use it with young persons in terms of a critical stage of development and training and orientation. But some of the other sectors where you have these, and this is where some of the social programs comes in. And it's important. It's not to say that you can create, I don't think our economy is versatile enough where you can create large schemes to get these persons into permanent and sustainable employment, particularly at the higher age groups. So you have to have social programs.
Let me interrupt you a bit on this and talk about attitude to work. And I'm going to get to me, I have always spoken about that many years, and I continue to talk about the attitude to work. And we have in these islands and among our people a bad attitude to work. That if you're going to construction industry, for example, we get to work at 9, 8:30, we sit to have breakfast, we actually start to work at 9 o'clock after 9, we break early for lunch, and then we break early to leave work at 3:30, and the productivity and efficiency in those sectors is an issue. And we don't see it as a people of, a waste of time and energy and resources. And that is a big thing, and we see that in pervading almost every sector that we're in.
And in construction, that would be an issue.
No, it's
farming.
It's clear.
That is your biggest challenge, labor and labor efficiencies.
It's true.
And what happens, and it costs us, where you would, because of these labor efficiencies, probably a pound of beans will cost me $3, it's now costing me $5.
True.
Because of the inefficiency there.
In other words, the work hours move from 7 to 3. If you get 3 hours, you're doing pretty good.
Correct. I mean,
so productivity, Chris,
and when we compare ourselves to countries like the Taiwans and all of these, the biggest difference is the discipline. The level of discipline the workers have in reaching to work on time. Actually, when the Chinese were building the stadium and you watch their work ethic, you understand and how they do what they do, it was an amazing thing for us. But that is the culture
if it's one thing
people in those parts of the world.
we need to learn from the Chinese is their work ethic.
And that is something
Cubans
we try not to talk about.
Cubans as well,
We gloss that on there, but that is a major thing for us. And we need to, and when you have a business that's doing well, and you go to the root cause, you see that the workers are happy in that business.
It's a different culture.
The environment and the culture in that business facilitates people coming and reaching on time, want to be there, want to work, and want to do what they want to do.
The personality of a business determines what happens at that business.
Correct.
So this attitude keeps us poor.
Yes,
Byron,
because we are not generating wealth.
Correct.
Yes.
That's a part of it.
Because
I understand the point you're making.
We in our life,
Exactly,
we in our life
So
is
it
a big
keeps us-
state of mind all day.
You know what is even worse with that? When we travel and we go to the countries like in Europe and the US and so on,
step up.
we change the work ethic.
Step up.
Jobs,
because the environment forces us to change the
But listen
work
now,
ethic.
we go there. There is something to be said about that. Because for all we say about how we culturalize and so on, we go to these places. Not only do we adapt to what happens there, we do better than the people who are there. So what does that say about us, really?
That's right.
And we have the ability to do that.
Yes, correct.
But again,
and as you talked about glossing over, Mr. Campbell, I didn't want to lose this point. So we say that a lot, and I see a lot of people on social media saying things like that because they put issues out there. Some of it not education and so on. Some people put them out to learn more, others put them out to gaslight. All right, so we know the season we're in as well. So people talk about glossing over issues. Every time they put something that's not right, and you come in to say, well, this is what it is, they're like, oh, well, we should make excuses and glossing over issues. I find we like to be stuck in the problem phase. I think we identify problems, and then we handle, right? And if there are consequences because of the problem, we deal with it. But I find for the most part, we are stuck in the problem phase. So the problem goes on for years. We keep talking about it. Every time we just keep rehashing it. When is the solution coming? And if there are any attempts at solution, we find that everybody starts to get funny. So you cling to your position, I cling to mine, and we're not getting to the center. So that's where it goes to, again, awareness. You know, we have to be very careful about how we communicate. I am concerned that we don't have enough of us here, that if we keep getting angry with each other and being so worked up about politics, about vaccinations, about homosexuality, by the time we look around, none of us dealing with one another. What happens to Grenada? So we need to be very, very careful with these things.
I agree, and I think it is an adjustment in attitude and what we do. I always say the change in anything starts with the person in the mirror. You look in the mirror, it's all about what am I going to do today to make a difference. It's not about what Byron is going to do or the government is going to do. It starts with you.
Your actions.
What does the person in the mirror plan to do today to make a difference? And if you don't challenge yourself in that respect, then we will never move forward in anything.
Imagine you wake up in the morning, right? I working for you, imagine that, right? And I wake up in the morning, who, me? I'm going to see what Allie doing down there here. I lose already. Because you have to see what the Allie doing instead of not going in to contribute and build on what, you know, we all trying to get to a place together, then, you know, so we seem to be stuck in these
I think
things.
we have a lot of positives in our country.
We
Among
do.
our young people in particular. We don't highlight it enough. That is an issue. But I think I have a group of young people in my business that down there that I am so proud of how they work and their ethic.
Specialists. And that gives me hope about the future in terms of when I see their talent and their ability. I could remove myself with, and they run it, they do it actually, you know. And so we build in a capacity, in my view, that gives a lot of hope, you know, not just hope, but positive hope that we're in a good way. And I think this is an excellent investment on the GOG, and whoever is the government should seek to maintain that, because project management, particularly rural development,
we have a problem with implementation.
Exactly.
Right up into project
So I can
management.
give you one example.
You know?
There's this program, the Basic Need Trust Fund, and this is a regional program, grant financing from the Caribbean Development Bank, and Grenada had its fair, and as a result of its performance, it received an additional grant of $1.3 million. That is for its performance level. And BNTF was able to implement 100% of its project. In fact, on Thursday at Munich, it opened, and a partnership with NAWASA actually, to open a water treatment plant because the Munich and the
yes,
surrounding
that's a part of that,
territory has been
right.
without
always been
good
challenged.
always been challenged. And so here's the thing, on time, the last project to be open, and this is probably later this month or early January, is a preschool, modern preschool in River Sally. On time, a multiple of projects completed on time, Grenada receiving a bonus. You know, these are things, sometimes we have a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah,
but,
as Brenda
but
said,
when
we
these
get
things
stuck in the
happen-
problems.
But when these
Yeah.
things happen, when these
We
things
do.
happen,
We stuck in the
we need to
problem
say we're
zone,
not all
man.
that bad. We do some things very well also.
Yeah.
And these are young people
Yeah.
that
I-
implemented this
I don't
project.
know if I don't know
So-
if it
so,
brings a wrong and orgasmic feel for people,
Yeah.
and I don't
Yeah.
know how the two could
Yeah.
equate, but we're really stuck in the problems problem
Yeah, so
phase.
I just think sometimes, you know, the narrative, sometimes we keep it, but there's a lot happening and good things happening that is also important, and it says it's important for our development and sustainability and rural development.
But Byron,
generally.
you and I, and Brenda,
Yeah.
I ain't sure she's close to us, but
Yeah.
you and I certainly have a responsibility to train and develop and cajole the young people that's coming
Yeah,
to take
yeah,
over,
yeah.
so that you and I could go on Grandans Beach or on Grand Mall and sit down and have a drink and
I
watch the
still do
sunset.
that, Chris. I'm
Yes,
not
I know
planning
that.
to do that in the future. I'm doing that now, Chris.
But with ease and comfort,
Yeah, absolutely.
and not social degradation,
Yes.
as we see in some islands around us.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
I heard a friend from Trinidad recently say, you know, she exists in Trinidad, but she could live in Grenada.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. You understand? Because
It
it
is.
speaks to the quality of life we still have and what we look as norm and we take for granted.
I am a young people
You know,
advocate.
and
I'm relatively
Yeah.
I
young
believe
myself
that
still.
we just need to keep pushing that
yeah.
and
It's true.
developing
Yeah.
that. And I am just like you, but I'm not about the negatives. I like to see my glass half full. I look at it
So
half
we have
full.
issues that we have to deal with,
Correct.
and we are far from there. But what you look at is the trend and what's happening. So if I pull out something, for example, like agriculture, for example, one of the issues we have, and I heard people talk about it, that we have an aging farmer population, that the average age is over 55, and so we need to fix it. How do we attract more young people into the sector? Technology, whatever. But listen to a strategy of the government. They're saying, like, we need to go deeper than that. We're going to invest in the 4-H movement. In primary schools,
That's where it
where
starts.
young people are with technology, and this is happening, and we're gonna focusing on climate smart agriculture, technology, shade houses, greenhouses, drip irrigation, all these tools. Now to make it exciting for these young people, so that even though you get 5 out of 100 trained, you're doing well because you have to attract
Yeah.
their minds
Yeah.
at this early age. So
Yeah.
this is a strategy of the government.
so,
this
you
is
know,
the project of the government.
Weekend,
You know,
I went to look at a hydroponic
The
system.
question is,
Yeah.
though,
And
who
I, as
knows
an old
about
man,
it?
going and do
Yes.
hydroponics.
Yeah,
You know, I believe the technology. I'm planning to get into hydroponics myself.
yeah. It's exciting.
And look at different models and get into it
Yeah.
and start to do,
Yeah.
you know, 5 variety of lettuce and
Exactly.
you know, just different.
Exactly.
So, but
Yeah.
the beauty of the system is you don't have to be bending down. I can't bend down after a while.
Exactly.
Up to your level.
Yeah.
You know, you monitor this and it's
Yeah.
not an expensive
Save
venture.
operation.
There's a
And that is what you're talking about.
Yes.
There's a young farmer that was highlighted in Petit Martinique, a young lady.
Yes, I know
she's
about
into
that.
hydroponics,
Mhm.
and it's really fantastic what
Yes,
she's doing, and how they're
Yeah,
putting everything
yeah.
together. And as you say,
Yeah.
you have to be consistent,
Yeah.
in terms of what you do and pay attention to what's going on in the farm and the water and all of
Yeah.
that. But it's not that hard, grinding, back bending
Yeah.
farmers
To get
farming
production.
as we know it.
And then you have more
Yeah.
control on
Yeah.
the variables.
We're
of
working
what
on a
happens.
model.
More
Chris?
control, it's climate smart
Yeah.
as well.
That's right.
Yeah, and all of that. So I think that kind of thing should be mushrooming, if you will. We seem to be mushrooming the wrong things.
Yeah. We are working on a model as a demonstration so that the public or interested persons, young, whoever, can visit and experiment and see and learn, because we think it's an important part of technology in going forward.
Oh yeah. And I think if nothing must be said, nothing else must be said about, and I touch this young people and this labor issues because I think we overplay some of the
Yeah.
things in it and
Yeah.
don't talk about the opportunities.
Yeah.
We need to,
Yeah.
and there will always be the Imani program have always come up for a lot of blows.
Yeah.
And what it does, I think the principle of the Imani was well thought out to provide hope for young people who seem to be
Yeah.
in a place where it's not the best place. And you could argue, and there is good arguments for the efficiencies and how it has been run and what needs to be improved and so on. And I don't think that is something that is a bad thing. You might need to see the ways to improve and look at the weaknesses in the system.
It needs to have a start and an end. It needs to be a start date, and there needs to be an exit. There needs to be a proper planned exit. It cannot be a continuous sort of thing. I'll tell you what, there are a lot of young people out there who has done extremely well because of the Imani program. And a lot of them are now in private sector. Some of them are even executives in private sector.
I know 5.
But one of the things, I know about 10.
Yeah.
But one of the things, because I've spoken to one and I said, listen, you need to tell your story.
Yeah.
For everything we say about the Imani program, some of it justified, I may add. You need to tell your story. People need to know. But you see, because it has been so vilified and stigmatized, even the people who are the let's say the gold standard of what it should be. Because imagine coming through the Imani program, going on internship, the company is so impressed with you, what you brought to them. They continue to call for you every time they needed a person. And then here you are, a big executive in the company. To me, that is the gold standard. That is a testimonial. That is what that program will do. But the individuals are saying to me, Lord, I don't know if I want people to know I was in the Imani program. I'm like, what? No, people need to know.
Brenda, the 5 I know are the 5 that came through me in the workplaces where I work, whether it's a financial institution or government projects. And the 5 I'm talking about, 5 women, they all perform excellently and they all now have permanent jobs.
Yes.
I mean, they're the best.
I have assistants as well.
Yes.
So
man, it's not all. There are parts we need to fix, but a lot of hundreds of young people have benefited from.
But you see, one of the things too, Senator Allie spoke about productivity, and it's our own mindsets. I think one of the threats, and probably not one of the poorest things about the program is the supervision. You see. Because where you have good supervisors, it works. I remember when I worked at GBN, we had a group of Imanis there, and there was a young lady, Jen. What was Jen's last name? I forgot. But I forget her last name now. But she was their supervisor, and she came to check on them all the time. And whenever she came, she would always ask of us who sometimes had nothing to really do with them in terms of direct contact. She wanted to know about their mannerisms. She wanted to know how they interfaced with us. She wanted to know these things. There were a couple of them playing the fool, made their way out. You know, that sort of thing. So I think at the middle level, the heart of the program, the folks who are supervising, the people who are under their supervision, they have to be paying attention to them, because probably that's where the wastage and the breakdown comes, and everybody just relax and figure,
Well,
so we have to get better at these things.
I know I have to leave very shortly. I want to make one last thing, Byron, off the beaten path, but somebody said
it's
to me
nice to go off the beaten path,
over the weekend that he's absolutely upset with how these guys who transport gravel and mix now in the trucks are doing it with impunity and not covering the trucks and spilling gravel and stones all over the place and making the roads unsafe for us as drivers who have to deal with it. And I'm always a passionate person about the cement part, but I'm talking about the gravel now.
Yeah.
And I think the police, because there are laws in place, traffic laws, that says that you must cover the backs to reduce the level of spillage and so on. And I think we just need to pay attention. Now we have a lot of accidents still happening. We're not sure if it's speeding or if it's the road conditions and what's happening. So I just say to our folks, the guys who construction is booming, you guys have work, we're happy about that. But please pay attention to how you move the stuff, because it's creating a problem. Cover the stuff. Take out 10 minutes to put your tarpaulin over those bigger trucks, SLs coming the automatic screen over. Guys, let's do something to protect each other. And I want to leave with that, Byron.
Yeah, I want to leave with, look, I mean, the past couple of weeks we had some, escalating crime situation. I just want to say to young people and everyone in particular, be careful, particularly with the alcohol consumption. Control yourself, leave your weapons at home, knives, whatever, the
only weapon you should come out with is your mind.
Your mind, it's a holiday season, a bit more, have fun, but have clean fun, take it easy. Be cool,
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as we go out, just be careful. I mean, all of us are really happy to be outside. Thanks for allowing us to be outside. But once we're outside, let's just be safe. And as we go through this Christmas season, let's remember the reason for Christmas. It's probably needed more than ever this year, as folks have gone through some really hard times. You know,
we need to share more.
If we reflect a lot, share more, love more, give more. And in terms of giving more, let's remember that we have lots of families this year that's going to be the first Christmas that they are without their loved ones.
True.
Those over 200 Grenadians that passed because of COVID. And we need to be mindful of those things. Lots of folks are going through tough times. So let's be a little patient, a little more kind, and a little more loving. Christmas, let's make it about us, each other. All right? Have a good week, everybody. Thanks for our executive team who put us together. Nazim Benjamin for your streaming services. Thank you. Blondell George, our director. Kirk Oliver. Kirk is back from honeymoon. Thank you, Kirk. Kirk was a cameraman this morning. And our executive producer, Richie Oliver. Our expert talk panel of Mr. Byron Campbell and Senator Allie. He's off to the Senate to represent us all this morning. All right? I'll be watching when I can.
Me too.
All right?
Good luck.
Take it. I call to little Natty and Tonda. Take it to them. That's our program, everyone. Until next time, I'm Brenda Baptiste. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.